This won't be our last argument throughout this hour, but it's time to deal with a subject Allie hates. Saving money. I'm exaggerating. You don't like to have your money sitting there not doing anything.
Right. I can't imagine putting my money into a bank account where I saw a banner in the window of a bank in Chicago that says you can get 0.8% by putting your money in a bank.
Half a percent is what you're getting from the bank, and that means you're getting nothing because inflation is more than that. But me, I'm so afraid of risking money that I lose opportunities. So the point here is that we have to figure out what you want your money to do for you, how to get there. That's budgeting, and that's long-term financial, you know, it's all that scary stuff that people don't like to talk about. What's your plan?
Mostly in America these days, it's about debt. That causes people a lot of tension. But when you can't just go into this willy-nilly. You need a plan, and this is part of why we've written a book for this, because we're responding to a lot of you who say we need a plan. Doug Flynn and our great panel are with us. Doug, let's talk about retirements and budget. Sure. How do people who haven't had this conversation, by the way, this is whether you're a couple or you're just on your own. Right. How do you start the process? How do you start the conversation?
Yeah, nobody really likes to budget when you really get down to it. They don't want to really know how much they spend on gifts for each other, and they don't really.
But it's like a diet. You don't keep track of every calorie, just like you don't like to keep track of every dollar, because you don't want to know what's at the end of that calculation.
And the unfortunate part is most people don't have enough money to do everything they want to do. There's only X amount of dollars at the end of the month. It's a good thing. You have to start saving, obviously. But once you save enough, then you can become an investor. That's the second part of this. But you have to know where is your money going to get the most out of it. But if you have enough money at the end of each month, you could start putting it towards the specific goals, and that's really, really important to do that. Some people need help in doing that. If they can't find any money out of there, there's money being lost. You have to look at it.
A simple way to look at it, 70-10-10-10. We've talked about this before. You live on 70% of your income, you save 10%, you invest 10%, and 10%, hopefully you're able to give back somehow.
That's right.
That's your goal, 70-10-10-10.
And we do that with clients. We have a piggy bank we give them when they have a new baby that has the one big pig.
He gave one to me.
I gave one to you with 70%, and there's 3 little piggies with 10-10-10, just to start really early. Yeah. Remember, your kids are looking at you. What are you doing? What are you not doing? That's where they're learning.
That's the point that Jeff made. This is a great lesson, too, for kids to understand about choices and what you can and should do with money. After you earn money, that's how you get it, by the way. You don't marry it. You don't inherit it. You don't win it in the lottery. If you really want to have, you know, sustainable security, financial security over a lifetime, you've got to earn it. Everybody has to work for a living. After that, it's only 4 things you can do with money. Save it, spend it, invest it, or donate it. I have a piggy bank like that for my kids as well, with 4 different slots instead of the one little slot. You know,
a real money coach. Yeah, I don't think people are budgeting correctly though, because we use budgets. When I ask them what's their top values, then they'll tell me their marriage or their kids or their wife, and I say, where in your budget does it show that you're investing in your marriage? Where in your budget does it say that you're investing in the self-esteem of your children? Where in your budget are you investing in yourself to get yourself more valuable for this global economy that we're in? And you'll never see that on a budget. So that's 70-10-10. So there's a percentage that's missing for growth. Again, going back to that original quality of life issues, that's the stuff, and you'll never see it on a budget. And so I allow for that.
I want to bring in Lynette quickly, because she's going to inspire you for a minute. Before you can have a budget and quite frankly grow your wealth, you have to dig out of the debt you've already put together, and Lynette dug out of $100,000 worth of debt, so she knows what she's talking about. $100 grand.
I know, it's awful to admit.
But you did it. But you did it.
That's correct. A decade ago in 2001, I had $100,000 in credit card bills alone. It's awful. I know it, of course, now. I took 3 years. I paid it off. I never missed a single payment. And then I wrote a book about it, Zero Debt, The Ultimate Guide to Financial Freedom, to sort of explain exactly what I did. I knew that if I got out of $100,000 in credit card debt, the average person, average household who's carrying about $10,000 or so in debt, in credit card debt, they could do the same.
Most people, that's right. Most people are not carrying. Most people have, if they have a mortgage, they may have that kind of debt, but you've got a house against it. So that's remarkable that you can do that. Jeff, let's bring you in, because you're a clinical psychologist. You understand how people work on this stuff, and there are a couple points we want to bring up for people. And the first thing is you've got to have meaningful conversations with your partner about this. Everybody here has said the same thing, that people don't come in and say, hey, we've been talking about money for years with each other, and now we'd like your expertise. So you've got to initiate the conversation. You've got to take the initiative, even if somebody else isn't bringing it up, because I think it's easy for 2 partners not to bring it up. You need to be honest. With about yourself and with your partner about your financial situation.
And your goals. And your goals. What you want your money to do for you. You have to be honest about that, too.
Exactly. And this conversation really is about the only thing that you have to fear is fear itself. Christine, you said this, you're afraid of what's at the end of perhaps not so much of that rainbow, and therefore we get into this whole idea that if we don't talk about it, the issues will go away. Well, you have to open it up, and it's really just taking the first step of just having the conversation and a series of conversations and being willing to take advice from one another, dealing with the good news, what may not be the bad news, but you know what the greatest news is? That you're actually addressing it, and that really is the very, very first step, the hardest step.
Part of my problem is that I speak money in such a way every day that I know that it costs $75,000 a year for a nursing home. That's with a roommate. I know that you need $250,000 out of pocket for medical expenses in 10 years of retirement. I know that I'm not saving enough for that and my 529
but
plans.
You can see why
things,
it's not natural for people to want to have this conversation, but know it. Know it.
Yeah.
Right. Better to know it and face it.
Even beyond the numbers and the seemingly scary statistics, look, there's a fundamental reason why most couples don't talk about money.
Yep.
Some of them have fear of what they've done or failed to do.
Right.
They don't want to be judged. They don't want to say, you know what, yeah, I had bad credit in the past. Yeah, I made financial mistakes. I racked up debt. I filed bankruptcy. I lost my home in foreclosure. I was unemployed and the bills got out of hand. So people sometimes don't want to address issues because they feel like they're going to be personally judged or called on for having made certain mistakes.
But yeah, we could talk about this for hours. Louis, you said something that I want to get to after the break. You talked about preparing yourself for a global economy. The language of money is entirely global today. Whether you live here or in China or Germany or anywhere else, understanding this new world order of money and its effect on you is critical. We're going to explain in just a minute.
And make sure you get on Twitter to talk to both of us about how to speak money. If you have questions, tweet us at Ellie Velshi and at Christine Romans, and we'll help you become fluent in the world's most important language, money.